Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, it's going to be all about 3378 Weatherby and finding the right powders to get your velocity and hopefully to get some good accuracy out of this behemoth cartridge. So let's get into it. Real quick, just to give you an idea of just how massive the 3378 Weatherby case is, this is a 338 Lapua case, and the 3378 Weatherby dwarfs it. All right, one last little fun comparison. 3378 Weatherby next to a 30-06. Fun little, well, let's just say the 3378 Weatherby has double the powder capacity than a 30-06. Yeah, that's the amount of powder we're looking at. Over 110 grains for a 3378 Weatherby. Okay, I'm going to do things a little differently in this video. Remember how in the past I've said that Gordon's reloading tool isn't always reliable? This is going to be one of those moments for 3378 Weatherby. Sadly, it's also extremely off with 300 RUM. So if you're wondering why I haven't shown Gordon's reloading tool with 300 RUM, that is exactly the reason, because according to Gordon's reloading tool, 300 Weatherby is faster than 300 RUM, which is not true. I've picked Hornady's because I feel like Hornady has possibly the most accurate information out of the other books. So let's just take a look. A 180 grain, 3,400 feet per second with, yep, I can just hear you now in the comments. Reloading Weatherby is talking about ball powder. Oh boy, yep. So with 3378 Weatherby, you really need the slowest burning possible powder. And so we're going to be recommending some ball powders today for 3378 Weatherby. So we're seeing 3,400 feet per second with a 26-inch barrel. Honestly, we'll talk a little more about this and I'll show you the numbers. You really need like a 30-inch barrel for 3378 Weatherby. Another powder, Retumbo. I personally think it's a little fast burning for 3378 Weatherby, but you can't be too picky on 3378 Weatherby. There's just not a lot of ideal powders for it. I'll say that. Okay, 3,400 is not bad. A 200 grain at 3,300 feet per second. Whew, this thing's moving good. But a lot of people are going to be shooting. I mean, Weatherby offers a factory ammo with a 220 ELDX, and you can hand load it with, let's see, US 869, 3150. And then 225 grain at 3,100. This thing's a powerhouse for sure. With the help of Hornady, here's the powders you should be using for 3378 Weatherby. I'm going to scratch off H1000. I think it's a little too fast burning. And if you can just get your hands on Retumbo, use that, especially with lighter bullets. Vitivory N170. I don't think you're going to get great velocity with 170, but I think you will get amazing accuracy. So that's an option. Retumbo, I just said. Alliant Reloader 33. Yep. If somehow you can find that, that's a good option. US 869. Yep. You should be able to get this. You'll get great velocity out of it and hopefully good accuracy. Okay. Then one that Hornady doesn't ever mention is N570. This is probably one of the better extruded powders for 3378 Weatherby. And I also will add on N568 and N565. Those are a little fast burning, especially 565, but again, our options are slim. Another one that we don't really talk about because I don't have it is H50 BMG. Wish I had it, but I don't. I don't have an overbore cartridge like this, so there's no need for me to get it. But H50 BMG is really good. Now, I've had quite a few people tell me just how fast they can get their 3378 Weatherby, even in just a 26-inch barrel. And one of the benefits of loading in a Mark V action, it's the strongest bolt in the world, and so you might not see the pressure signs. So I've had people tell me they can load a 180 grain well past 3,500 feet per second, which I have to imagine that is overpressure, but again, it might not show it with that Mark V action. But think of the potential, guys. You're loading a 175 grain bullet. Well, let's just say we're doing it safe and we've got a 30-inch barrel. You're still like 35, 50 feet per second. Wow, in a 175 grain. That would be devastating. I'll run the numbers and show you in a sec. So here's a hypothetical performance. Let's say you get it in a 30-inch barrel and you're running this 175 grain LRX at 3,050 feet per second. You're going to get some really insane performance. You're almost at 4,900 foot-pounds of energy. At 200 yards, your bullet's going still way over 3,000 feet per second, 3135, and you have the energy at 200 yards that a 300 Win Mag has at the muzzle. At 400 yards, bullet's going 2758, 2,955 foot-pounds of energy. The 270 wishes it could have that much energy at the muzzle. Out to 600, the bullet's going 2,410 feet per second, and you have at 600 about the same energy as a 6.5 Creedmoor at the muzzle. Now, bear in mind, this data with this 175 LRX is at sea level. If we bump this up to 8,000 feet, it's way better. But we're just going to compare everything at sea level just because that's what the industry does. Now, this is mils in drop, 2.26 mils to 600 yards, and this is wind drift with a 10 mile per hour wind in mils, 0.9. Now let's talk 200 grain. So one of my favorite bullets is the 200 grain Accubon. I also the 200 grain Terminal Ascent, and I kind of want to show you the numbers you can get. Again, I understand this isn't really helpful if we're putting this all in a 30-inch barrel, but this is just for fun to see what the true potential is of a 3378 Weatherby. So bear in mind, your hand loading, you're probably going to get about 100 feet per second slower with a 26-inch barrel. Now this would be a really fun combo. This is a 200 grain Terminal Ascent in a 3378 Weatherby. Again, with a 30-inch barrel, oh, this thing would be crazy good. So let's run the numbers. 3,400 feet per second. That's so good. Now we're at 5,135 foot-pounds of energy. So as you can see, you're going to want to run heavier bullets in a 3378 Weatherby. I think you're just going to get more out of it. 200 yards, 3,062, 4,165 foot-pounds. That's 300 Weatherby energy at the muzzle. At 400 yards, 2750 and 3,359 foot-pounds. That's 7 Rem Mag, like loaded hot muzzle energy. 600, bullets going 2459, and then you have 2,685 foot-pounds. Again, this is at sea level. Put this bad boy up at 8,000 feet. You're going to be well over 3,000 foot-pounds of energy. And then 2.35 mils of drop, 0.77 in wind drift. This would be an awesome combo. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. The 3378 Weatherby is the king of 30 caliber magnums. It's fast, extremely overbore, and you're using a ton of powder, as I showed. Now, just a reminder, if you're using a 26-inch barrel, you're probably going to be seeing at least 100 feet per second less than what I showed on paper. But that's still really good. You know, you're pushing this 175, 34 to 3450 feet per second, 180 grains at 3,400, you know, 200 grain at 3,200 plus. It's all really good performance. But man, if you were to get one, I would highly recommend a 30-inch barrel.